Hey, my name's Jasika. Welcome to Sewing with Jasika. This is part one of a one-part tutorial on how to use fold over elastic with your cover stitch machine. I did not learn how to do this on my own. I saw it posted on TaylorMade's Instagram feed and I tried it and it was incredibly simple. So what I'm working on right now is a binder, also known as a bro, as opposed to a bra. And this is a J-Lee Patterns sports bra, essentially, that I've added a lot more length to, and I've also added a piece of foam on the inside between the lining of the front piece so that it gives it a little bit of structure and covers up things like nipplage or whatever. This part isn't important, I just wanted you to know what I was working on. So the most important thing to know when you're applying binding, whether it's fold over elastic or just regular kind of binding, is that you want to apply it to an open seam. It can't be closed. So obviously these are the straps to the bra and I've left them open. So I'm going to apply the binding on this whole open curve and then I'm going to stitch those pieces closed. So here I have my industrial binder. I've used tape to stick it to my cover stitch machine. It doesn't leave residue, but you can also use putty, whatever you have on hand. I suggest that you try this on scrap fold over elastic and material first to get your settings right, but I prefer my binder to be pretty much right at the edge of where my foot is. This gives me a little bit more control and keeps both of my needles going through the middle of the binding. So I'm going to use my trusty, what are these called? Tweezers, and slide the binding with the wrong side facing me through the binder. And I just use these tweezers to help me a little bit. So you see I've got it through the edge and I'm going to pull it through so that it's on the other side. And I don't know if you can see this with the camera, but I've got both the wrong sides facing each other and the right side is on the outside. Now if you were not using fold over elastic and you were using the regular binding, which is just a strip of knit fabric, it would be wider than this and it would fold in on itself so that the raw edges would be covered. You don't need to do that with the fold over binding because it's got finished edges already. So now I'm just going to thread the binding through the little loops and this helps keep it all straight and not get tangled up. And so I'm going to, the tweezers are super helpful if you have a cover stitch machine. I'm just going to pull the binding, the fold over elastic through the binder machine a little bit and make sure that my needles are up and my feet are up. And now if you can see, I've got the the elastic right underneath the needles.
Can you see? Let's see. Yeah, okay.
Okay. So, I'm going to start on one end of my big open armhole. And again, these are the straps and this is where the arm is going to go through. And I'm going to use my tweezers to get the edge of this right through there. And I'm working with the right sides of the bra outside. So I use my tweezers to kind of guide the edge of the fabric right as close as I can get to the needles. Essentially, I want the whole time for the raw edge of my garment to hit right the inside of the groove of the fold over elastic that's coming through the binder. So I'm going to make a few stitches. I've lowered my needle and my presser foot and I'm going to stitch just a couple stitches first to get it moving. Seems to be going well. Alright, so now I'm right at the base of the actual garment fabric and I'm just going to keep going as slow as I can, guiding this around the curve through the binding. And if it skips it, the needles jump off of the fabric or whatever, I can just use my tweezers to slide it back on there. All right, here we go. So as you can see, I'm trying to go slow, and I'm making sure that this is centered right here and it's feeding in through, and that the raw edge of my garment is right inside the groove of your... It's helpful to go slowly when you come to a seam just because it's thicker. Hey, you're still sewing with Jasika. So I have sewn the length of this fold over elastic onto this armhole, and I'm right at the very end, and I just wanted you to see how I get it out. So I'm coming close to the very edge of the binding, and I'm going to go past the edge of the garment, just a couple of inches. I'm going to make sure that my needle is up. I'm going to lift up my presser foot and grab my scissors that were not nearby. So I don't know how all cover machines work, but I know that on this one you have to release the tension on your 2 or however many top strands that you have, so that you can get it out from under the feed dogs. So first I'm going to snap the elastic. So I snipped that, and then I press the tension.
Are you serious?
What happened? Can you get in closer? Let's see a real nice close-up of the inside of the seam with the fold over elastic. This is what a cover stitch does. It finishes the inside of the seam.
Oh no, we can't see it.
Okay.
Hold it still. Yeah.
This is what a cover stitch does. Okay, this is what the machine does. It finishes the inside of the seam. It's nice, it looks professional. It's durable. Look at that stretch. Huh? Look at that stretch. Okay, and you got a nice twin stitch on the outside of the garment. So once I apply the fold over elastic to the other side, I'm just going to use my serger and finish this seam as I would normally, and there you go. You're going to have a really nice bound elastic edge to the sleeve. And again, I think that this is a much cleaner finish than applying fold over elastic with the regular machine. Of course, if you have a regular machine, that's all you have, then it's totally fine. But I think there's a lot of people out there with cover stitches that are still trying to figure out how they work. And I'm very thankful to TaylorMade Blog for sharing her way of applying the fold over elastic with the cover stitch machine. And this binder attachment that I have is the 1 1/8 inch. Again, I got it from eBay. And it would work with your standard fold over elastic. Other size binders might work as well, but this is the only one that I've tried it with. And that's about it. Thank you so much for sewing with Jasika.